Hi, everybody. This is Gregory T. Walker, Global Creative Executive Director of the Brothers Network. And consistent with our work over the last 18 years, we certainly take time to honor the brothers. This is the people who are the Brothers Network. And today we have our Brother of the Month in November 2024, the iconic, incredible playwright Keith Hamilton Cobb.
Hello.
And there he is. The beauty of technology and theater is that we are in two different cities, and we are making this happen to share with all of our viewers and listeners the incredible story of American More, written by Keith Hamilton Cobb, and normally plays in the role, the central role in this character. But this is the first in Philadelphia, that another actor is playing this role in American More. It's playing American More. So we are really thrilled to have the Philadelphia premiere, and more importantly, we are thrilled to talk with you, Keith. Keith, would you tell us a little bit about your background?
Gregory, where do I begin? You know, a little bit starts where? You know, what would you like to know?
Let's talk about the impetus for American More.
Okay. The impetus for American More. American More is a story having to do with many things, but I think chiefest among them is the intersection of where American theater meets African American male maturity and the stifling of the Black creative voice, in this case the male creative voice, but the Black creative voice in American arts, and the focus on any number of other things for any number of other reasons, and that is all come upon by having a life living exactly that, right? I mean, I have had a life in art that is circuitous. At times you would even define it as a struggle. Odd, unfair. Again, that's one of those terms that you use carefully, because we know, show business is not meant to be fair, and nobody owes you anything per se.
Well, I certainly think that life is life. If you say it's show business, I say that's life. Life is unfair. We are all odd in our own way, and yet no route is direct or straight. They are all circuitous. And so that's the brilliance, in my mind, of this particular play, and also your own personal and professional trajectory. So tell us.
Yeah.
Tell us what I think is interesting is your height, and how you fold that piece into your work about being very tall and being Black, and how one may perceive or misperceive you in the general society.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to cap the previous thought, you said life is circuitous, and indeed it is. Some lives more circuitous than others for reasons that have to do with who has a privileged trajectory, right? Who has a trajectory that is assisted? Who has a trajectory that is not labeled as a thing or seen as a thing, and then sent in different directions the minute that individual walks into the room, and all of that in the mind of a performer growing up and realizing that there's no separating his humanity as an artist from his humanity as the African American male, that they are one thing, that theater is that prides itself in leaning left, is not necessarily unbound from all of the things that create all the other circumstances that we live, including any number that are showing themselves very strongly right now. And all that coming together creates this play, right? Without that life, you wouldn't write this play. You wouldn't have,
that's right.
have the right. So that's the upside, that's the upside. We have this interesting play that it has to do with all those things. How the Black performer is perceived and used or not used, and why. It also has to do with on another level with Shakespeare, with the nature of love. Is there such a thing as unconditional love? Is there such a thing as what's the term? Is there a way to endure the vicissitudes of a creative life where one is perpetually being told what they can create and edited in their in not only their creative output but the creative value? If that makes sense.
I think I personally resonate with this particular story as the founder of the Brothers Network, which is intentional in amplifying brilliant Black voices in high art and culture, from painting, obviously, to storytelling, and more importantly, playwriting and playwrights, because the audience, no matter their race, gender, class, socioeconomics, will benefit, I think, from listening and watching this particular play, American Moor, that, again, this is a story that goes back, part of the story goes back 400 years to William Shakespeare. And to be clear for folks who haven't perhaps had the opportunity to read Shakespeare, you don't need to read Shakespeare to see this play and connect with it. It is a play for all audiences. Would you agree with that, Keith?
I would absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
And the language and the nuance is akin, in my opinion, to the great Jimmy Baldwin, the great James Baldwin, and has nuances of August Wilson. I hope that's not offensive, but it is one long soliloquy, if you will. And you, as the playwright and often the actor, I don't know why you don't have more awards than you already do, because the language and the iambic pentameter that even exists within this is captivating. I've had the pleasure of seeing this particular production, this new production, Philadelphia premiere, 4 times. And every time I see it, I hear and see something different and new and fall more in love with it. So kudos to you. I've seen theater since 1981, starting on Broadway. And this particular play, American Moor, is one of the best I have seen in my life, if not the best that I have seen. The language, the writing, the story, the characters is so incredibly spot on. So you are our Brother of the Month for all of those reasons. We want everyone to know who you are around, not only in this country, but around the world, where our catchment is a wide one, not just Philadelphia. It's much larger than that. And I wanted to ask you one quick question, and it's a little bit unfair and it's a little bit on the spot, but what's your favorite line that you wrote in this particular play?
Oh,
if you have one.
Goodness. You do put me on the spot, Gregory.
I'll keep talking.
I would have to think for a moment, but
I'll keep talking while you think of it. Okay. And if not, we will invite our audience to come and see the play and then ask them what their favorite line or lines are, or their favorite segment is, because that will be a challenge for our listeners too, because there's so many great lines.
I have to say, Gregory, the reason it's not easy to answer that question is because I tell people very candidly, you mentioned how you've seen the play 4 times, and every time you see something new, and you're not the first person who said that. There's a ton of data here to dissect and to contemplate, and there's always more. I do over you discover something else when I'm doing it again, and I'm very eager to see somebody else do it, because I'm sure the way that they present it will offer new data that I see, and all that is about the fact really being that I don't believe that I wrote this. I think that the ancestors I was the conduit, right? I tell people all the time, very candidly, I don't write this well. This is the piece of work that was meant to be written. It it is more important than anything else in my body of work. And I look at it and say, well, you can compare it to any number of things that I've written, and none of them do what this does. None of them compel people to come back again and again and see what else is there. So, all the cats, all the cats were around writing this, back through generations. You want to talk about, Jimmy Baldwin, maybe Langston was there. I don't know. The cats were there saying, okay, you just be the vessel, man. You just be the vessel.
Yeah.
And then there was this, and I say that with all candor, right? I don't know where this play came from, but it is lush and urgent, and and I just encourage everybody to come see what you're doing.
I would say lush, and I would also, it speaks to this moment, and this is a play, American More, that is universal and will continue decade after decade after decade, because the messaging and the language, or unless there's some huge cultural shift in the cultural hegemonic, this play will always be relevant to audiences, all audiences, again, not only in America, but around the world, as it looks at the experiences and the plight of one particular person. But it could be a woman, it could be a gay person, it could be a trans person, it could be a white female in a white male environment. It is so incredibly poignant for all of us to identify with both of the characters in this play. The one who imagines what life should be like for a Black man, and he's a white male, and has the audacity to suggest that he, the white male, knows exactly what it's like to be a Black man, either 400 years ago or today in the modern world. And that's not an experience that Group A can capture about Group B. It's not possible, and vice versa. Group B can't possibly capture the experiences about Group A, although for Black men, we certainly have been indoctrinated to what it's like to be white in the world, and how that might present an advantage in some ways. And this play speaks to that brilliantly. I can't give you enough high praise in this video, or other than encouraging people to come see and share with us. You will also be here in Philadelphia as we celebrate James Baldwin's 100th year on this earth, and infusing us with so much wit and brilliance. And I see you as an incarnation, if you will, of Jimmy Baldwin. You will be here with us in Philadelphia to celebrate Jimmy Baldwin's life. And they'll see in the text information below when that performance is, where we celebrate Jimmy Baldwin. We're actually celebrating around his death, December 1st. The show will be a little bit before that because we couldn't do it on that day. And then you will be in Philadelphia again in person for a talk later in December, and people can find out more information about that in the link below. I invite everyone to come out, first and foremost, to come see the play, and also come see Keith Hamilton Cobb in conversation with himself, telling us more about this play, his life, and his trajectory towards brilliance. As we close, brother of the month, what do you hope for the world, and what do you hope for audiences coming to see American More?
It's a hell of a lot easier to hope for audiences coming to see American More, right? Come to the show, sit, bring your open heart and open mind, and see how, or if you are moved. I think you will be in one way or another, and hopefully it will generate many discussions, because that's what we need to be doing and talking. Hope for the world. My hope at the moment, Gregory, is not huge. I could hope for all kinds of things, but it seems a little bit like pissing up a rope right now. Very, very honestly. So I won't even, I'll leave you at that.
It's a bit Sisyphean right now. We're rolling that boulder up the hill and it keeps rolling back down on top of us, right? Indeed. Very Sisyphean. But I think your play and your work in the arts and culture and theater and discourse and dialogue is akin to Jimmy Baldwin. And I just want to say we are so thrilled to honor you, your brilliance, and your continued intelligence. I know that you have other projects that you might want to just share with folks while we're here. Is there anything you want to share with us that's coming up?
Well, most of it, interestingly enough, are what I call the organic manifestations of American Moor, and that is, explorations, originally explorations of Othello, open-ended explorations of the Othello text that go on as long as funding can be found, because the play does not really, any new rendition of the play, any rendition of the play that has transcendent cultural value is not immediately accessible to us, except that we take the long form of looking at it and deciding, amongst us, amongst those actors and creatives representing the characters in this play, creating tragedy. What's actually happening here? What value does it have? What is the best way forward? And that work spawned a company called Project Untitled, and that's where I am right now at Western Washington University, working with a group of theater students on a potential production of Shakespeare's Tempest, because that work of doing what we call untitling, which is taking the work and starting from zero with all the prescriptions and taken off, all the guardrails taken off, and permission to see this work as it lands on you. Talk about what it needs to be, where you want to go, and why, with no pressure to put something on stage, no pressure to produce, no pressure to make product right now, with the cultural capital of Shakespeare, but almost more of a responsibility to disrupt that and just look until something new occurs. Right. This is the work, and that's a bit abstract. That's not as straightforward as American Moor, but the conversations around American Moor have spawned all of this work. So it is doing its job. This is expanding, and perhaps the national discussion around these issues in that American Moor presents, and what we do with Shakespeare, and why, and how, and who gets to do it, right? And who gets money to do it, and who is allowed the training and the access. All of those are huge discussions, that are waiting to happen. So that's what I'm after. Nothing big.
That's what we do. I mean, the foundation of the Brothers Network, of course, is the readings, writings, and learnings of James Baldwin and W.B. Du Bois as well, and obviously the iconic playwright. So many iconic playwrights. I say James Baldwin, but I also want to include August Wilson in that. The Brothers Network was founded to amplify brothers just like you. That's the brothers part of it. Sometimes we are misidentified, but it is amplifying brilliant Black men in high art and high culture, just like yourself. I invite people to learn more about the Brothers Network. If they don't know, they can find us at www.thebrothersnetwork.art. I'll say it again, www.thebrothersnetwork.art. Yes, .art. It's our high-level domain name to underscore that we're an arts presenting, theater producing, cultural organization that amplifies brothers just like you. Thank you very much, Keith Hamilton Cobb, for your time and attention today and the opportunity to celebrate you and chat with you and tell the world about American Moor with its Philadelphia premiere.
Thank you, sir. So happy to be here.
All right. We'll talk with you soon, and we'll see you in Philadelphia as well. Take care of yourself.
Very much looking forward to it. See you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.